guys, welcome to an exclusive season of Breakfree Millions with your coach Iffat Khan. And this is the place where you break free into the business and the life that you desire. Today's guest is a professor. She's a chairman and MD of Karma Ventures. She's a traveling teacher who teaches entrepreneurship in several Ivy League schools like IIM, Stanford, Princeton, and LSE. She's a prolific writer for mainstream newspaper, portals, and blogs. She was named Business Woman of the Year. She is a TED speaker. She's been featured on Your Story, ET Now, Lufthansa, Runway Success, and many more. Well, the best part is she is a mountain climber, a rock climber, trekker. She's climbed Mount Everest 5 kilometers short of the summit. And not only that, she is an author of Entrepreneurship, Startup Stand Up, and Cook-a-Doodle-Doo. The first two are step-by-step guide to becoming an entrepreneur and growing the business in India. Well, what an inspirational woman. Well, she's not just an inspiration to me, but so many out there. So let's welcome Nandini Vaidyanathan. Well, we've got an amazing guest and we have Nandini Vaidyanathan with us, guys. So Nandini, hello, welcome to our show. And it's so awesome to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm kind of coming into it blind. I have no clue what kind of court-martial you're going to subject me to, but let's go with it.
Awesome, and that's the best way to it, you know, that's the best way to it. And something very important that I would like to talk to you about is the youth today, right? And they love getting into businesses, you know, they love becoming an entrepreneur. And that's exactly what I teach. And I kind of met you, I didn't meet you, but we had a discussion. And I read your book. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and show you guys this book. This is Entrepreneurship, and I would say this is really amazing because it's a step-by-step guide for you to get started with your businesses. And you've done an amazing job, Nandini. I happened to get hold of one of these, and I did read through this. So something which you know, I want to talk more about your book, and So I want to just ask you, you know, what made you kind of go ahead and write this to begin with?
There wasn't any concerted action plan in that sense of the term. I don't know whether you remember, I think 2011, Entrepreneur magazine came to India, and literally from the first edition, I was doing a regular monthly column for them. And it was very interesting. I never thought 2011, I mean, entrepreneurship itself was suspect at that stage, right? So I never thought this magazine would have any great distribution. It's so interesting, Iffat. The magazine would hit the stands, I think, by about the 6th or 8th of every month.
Mm-hmm.
And over the next 1 week, I would get at least 60 calls asking me to mentor them.
Wow.
60 emails asking me to mentor them.
Wow.
And from places like Dibrugarh, Dhenkanal, I mean, which are not really on any entrepreneur map in that sense of the term. So it kind of took me by surprise. And although it does sound like I was blowing my trumpet, one particular issue I remember, I think I was traveling and I didn't write the column, and there were angry letters to the editor. The magazine was priced at $100, which was a lot for those days.
Yeah.
So there were several angry letters to the editor saying, we buy the magazine, we pay $100 only for Nandini ma'am's column. How dare you don't publish the column?
That's awesome.
So the editor then said, you know what, you better make sure even if you're traveling, you write regularly into us. So amongst the multitudes of people who reached out to me after reading the column in the Entrepreneur magazine, one such was a person who worked for Embassy Books.
Nice.
And she mailed me saying, I buy the magazine only for you, and I would be interested to talk to you about writing a book.
Amazing.
So I think she reached out to me somewhere around December.
Right.
We signed the agreement end of January,
Okay.
And by May 10th, the book was out.
Wow.
So
Wow.
interestingly, every single chapter was written on a flight.
Brilliant.
And this girl very sweetly told me, Nandini ma'am, can we do something different in the book? On each chapter, which was written on a flight, can we put the boarding pass of that flight? And I said, no, you're not going to do any such thing. So literally, and I think long haul flights, I remember Bangalore, London, I did 5 chapters.
Wow.
The reason was, and I'm saying this, I think, with a particular agenda in mind, the reason I could shoot it off like that was because I wasn't sitting in a library researching, trying to figure out what to write, how to go about it. This book was a result of my own mentoring experience. So everything that I had gone through, and I think when I wrote this book, we had mentored about 500, 700 entrepreneurs.
Brilliant.
Whatever was the outcome of this mentoring was what went into the book. The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, all of it, right? So book kind of wrote itself in the process, right?
That reminds me of something. That is so true. I meet so many entrepreneurs nowadays, and they're like, I really want to, write a book. Maybe people want to become an author.
Yeah.
But they do not understand that simple thing about, you cannot just sit on, in a place and just think about that and the ideas would flow. It just does not happen. That just reminds me about how I went about writing my book.
Okay.
So my book, 30 Ways to Break Free into a Life and Business You Want. I remember this was exactly how I wrote my book. I used to carry my, iPad, I used to carry my phone, and I used to just, the moment I used to have these ideas and the thoughts and my experiences, why I used to coach women and I used to coach my clients, and I used to sit and I used to just write those experiences.
Right.
Not only that, my experiences from my life, because that is so important even when we go ahead, just start our business.
Right.
This is all our experiences that we put in together. So I never literally sat, on a table and just thought, let me go ahead and write my book. It just did not happen. So it was so natural.
In fact, the first draft, when some of my students read it, the first reaction was, Nandini ma'am, it's so like listening to you in class. We can, see you pacing up and down animatedly and talking kind of a thing. So there was no theory in the book. There was nothing hyphened up. And I think the reason I also wanted to write this book was because there was no one book that said, these are the things you need to do.
Yeah.
From an idea stage to going to market. These are the steps you need to follow.
Yes.
None. Neither in India nor internationally at that time. And even now, I don't think anyone has written a book like Entrepreneurship, which kind of handholds you and says, these are the things you should do. These are the things you should absolutely avoid doing. All of that. Right?
Yeah, this is something I really like and I really want to show. Look at the animation. And look at how brilliantly this is done. I mean,
that's
you
my
guys.
Student, Rachna.
Yeah, that is so
All
awesomely
my 3
done.
books, Rachna did the illustration, and
Wow.
she's an absolute doll.
It's beautifully done, and also, this. When I just went through the table of contents, it actually explains you everything from beginning to how you can become an entrepreneur, to how you can have your digital footprint, to why you need incubators in colleges, to social entrepreneurship, which is one of which I'm too much inclined into, social entrepreneurship. I really, really love that concept. And when I go ahead and work with people, I make sure they're doing something which is good for the society and, into a business where their heart and their soul is. That's the kind of people that I love working with.
Right.
And I got connected with you because there was something, first of all, I loved your profiles, your DP, okay? I mean, I don't know, she put such happening profiles. And also you just mentioned that you kind of do trekking, don't you?
Climbing and trekking.
Oh, she does climbing and she does trekking.
I've done Everest, 5 kilometers short of summit.
Wow.
In the month of December 31st. So I think for the last 7-8 years. Yeah, every 31st December we summit. So no parties for us, no drinking binges for us. We make sure summit. Done amazing, Himalayan biosphere I think I've pretty much covered. Have done Mount Kinablu, that was possibly tougher than Everest because it's a rock climbing. It's billed as the toughest rock climbing site in the world. This year, the highlight of this year has been, I did something called the Todra Gorge in Morocco.
Okay.
Todra is a lime rock formation in the Atlas Mountains. And I'm probably the oldest woman to have ever climbed it.
You're the youngest. Trust me when I say that.
And the best part was when I signed up for it, I thought I was actually going to do it with ropes.
Okay.
But after I paid the money, I get this email saying, "Oh, did we tell you? This is an eco-friendly zone, so you cannot use ropes." And I'm like, dude, this is a vertical line rock. How the hell do you think I'm going to do without a rope?
Yeah.
Oh, but you have to do. So I went there and I had a look at the Todra Gorge and I said, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm not capable of doing this. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I did about 600 feet of what is called free solo, which is without a rope. I did about 1,300 feet with a harness, with a rope, and I came rappelling down some feet, and then of course I goofed up big time. I couldn't rappel down. See, I had never done rappelling before. I'd seen it in Vertical Limit and documentaries and whatever, and I thought, how hard is it? I just had to do and come down. I didn't think there was anything big deal to it. And then my guide said, come down. When you begin to lose momentum, put your feet out, hit against the rock, and then the momentum comes back again. And I said, okay, it can't be very hard. So I come down, I lose momentum. So I put my feet out, but instead of keeping it straight up there, just when I am close to the rock, for some strange reason, I fold my feet and go bam on my knees. I did this 3 times, and I think Abdi, my guide, decided that by the time I come down, I won't have any knees left. My kneecaps would be shot to pieces. So he said, okay, wait. And then he comes down, rappels down beautifully. And then I still have about 900 feet to go. Okay?
Wow.
And then he says, take off your harness. I said, okay, but what am I going to do? He said, you climb down. I said, how do I climb down? And very sweetly he said, oh, you climb down like a monkey. And I'm looking down and saying, bloody shit. You can't even pick up my remains with a blotting paper. I'm not doing this. And then he said, okay, go back up. And whatever, whichever way you want to do it.
Yeah.
So I said, but it was interesting. And I think this is a point, there is a lesson here for entrepreneurs that I want to make. He showed me, he said, when we became humans and we became erect, we forgot to use our body. Right?
Yes.
So he said, this is how, when I said climb like a monkey, this is how a monkey climbs. And this is how you ought to be doing it. And honestly, I found that I could do it. I didn't miss a step. I didn't fall down. I didn't injure myself. Actually, climbing up, I injured myself plenty, on the rocks and everywhere. But coming down, I didn't injure myself. And when I came down, it occurred to me, most of us, especially when we become entrepreneurs, forget our natural skills.
True.
Maybe because these natural skills have long been forgotten. Maybe we've not had an opportunity to use them. Or maybe we're simply pig-headed and saying, oh, in my MBA, I'm told to discard this. I don't need to use
That just reminds me, your experience of climbing is so much like, like an entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
It is like entrepreneurship. Why? Because there are so much of challenges that we go through.
And another point I want to make, for the entrepreneurs, when I started climbing, this was in the year 2011.
Right.
I was already 53.
Ha!
My first trek to Kailash Manasarovar.
You don't look like, trust
I'm going to
me.
be 60 next month.
Wow.
Okay? And I'm climbing in Bhutan.
Wow.
Okay, on my birthday, I'm climbing in Bhutan.
Yeah,
and
we
then,
should go together,
Yes.
I would love to.
So 2011, at 53, I took to trekking, which means, in an entrepreneurial journey, there is no such thing as been there, done that.
True, absolutely.
It is all about every single day pushing your body to the limit, pushing your intelligence to the limit, pushing your heart and emotion to the limit, and reinventing yourself. I think good entrepreneurs are those who have a passion for reinventing themselves. I get bored very easily.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, like you were commenting about my DP, I'm a selfie queen. I change my DP every 24
that's
hours.
so
and
awesome.
It's the talk of the town. Everybody laughs about it. At my gym, my students, my mentees, everybody comments about it. But the thing is, my point is this. If I'm going to be bored looking at my own picture, then I better do something
Yes,
about it.
absolutely.
Right? So therefore, I think my attention deficit has been channelized more constructively. And I think entrepreneurs ought to do that.
Absolutely.
There is no point in saying this worked for me in the past and therefore
It's
written in blood and I shall continue till I die. I think it's a very, very boring journey. I think entrepreneurs get fed up, frustrated because they don't reinvent themselves. And I keep saying this. You know, one of the myths about entrepreneurship is that you should have passion.
Yeah.
I dislike that because I think to live life you need to have passion. Okay.
Yeah.
But you need to have passion to reinvent yourself.
You do. You do.
See yourself as a completely different person. When we crossed Namche, when I did Everest and we crossed Namche Bazaar, I sat down and I cried. Okay. You know, Iffat, in school I was not athletic. On Wednesdays we used to have PT. And at the beginning of the term, I used to give a medical certificate saying why I can't participate in PT. And what did I do during the hour? Sit and read. And unfortunately, I come from a typical Kannada Brahmin family where primacy was given only to read, study.
Right.
Sports, athletics was never on anybody's radar. So at 53, when I decided I'm going to become athletic, it obviously didn't come easily to me. And I've really worked hard on it. And the way I gym, I'm an absolute, mascot in my gym, poster boy in my gym. But the only reason I think I push myself is not because I want to prove something to somebody else, but I want to tell myself that I better look forward to tomorrow. If my tomorrow is going to look the same as my today, bloody hell, it's going to be very boring.
Yeah, it's going to be boring.
So it's the newness of things, that makes me want to reinvent myself, reinvent my ambient environment.
And that's even critical.
Interest in everything alive.
And I would say this is even critical for your business, because if you get bored doing the same thing over and over again.
I am now. I'm looking for version 3.0 of Nandini now.
So you are like kind of an extremely vibrant person, and I am so happy to meet you, because there'll be so many people who'd be inspired just listening to what you have to say, which is so beautiful. And even today, you've got so many things that I'm quite sure you got a to-do list to be completed. I'm quite sure.
I don't have a bucket list.
Yeah.
So that's the other interesting thing. I don't sit down and say, I want to go to Croatia because, yes, I do say things like next year I want to do Machu Picchu.
That's on my list.
Right. So it's random in that.
Yeah.
But is it a bucket list, and is it...
but it'll keep changing, I'm quite sure, looking at...
No, and I do completely on the fly.
Yeah.
We did 97-kilometer hike in Portugal in April.
Right.
Okay. And for the first time, I did all kinds of terrains. I did forest, I did mountain, I did cliff top. Cliff top I had never done before. And believe you me, it's even more challenging than a mountain. Okay.
True.
Did all kinds of things. And at the end of it, my single largest takeaway is, when people tell me that they can't believe I'm going to be 60 and there is this happiness around me, my single largest takeaway is that it makes me happy. And if it makes me happy, I make everybody else around me happy.
Absolutely. That's what exactly we teach and we focus upon. So when we do, honestly, let me tell you, I do something. Breakfree. The reason why I do that is because I really want people to get out there, do things which they've always been wanting to, and and be happy about it. Be happy about it.
Yeah. We never had this concept of work-life balance.
Yes.
Which is for some strange reason.
It does not work, and it does nothing as.
I don't think it works because you're the same person.
Yeah.
And if you don't know to straddle between the two worlds seamlessly, God help you. Right? So I keep saying this, if you're a wife beater at home, you can't be a good manager in your workplace.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely contrary.
You're just fooling yourself if you say that you're a good manager.
So if you're unhappy at work, how the hell are you going to be happy at home?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly a work-life balance, but what I believe is that even when it comes to business, and the
Right.
reason why, so what I do is actually passion to profit. So you just brought about, brought the point up that it's not exactly passion that you need, but I believe you do need passion in every aspect of your life. Absolutely. And even when it's business, I'll tell you an example. So I started off, I want to do this a lot of businesses. So I started off, let's say I want to do some network marketing. I started off with that. I went on Amazon. I started doing stuff just because I want to get a taste and hang of, what exactly entrepreneurship is like. And then I'm like, setting up an online store, doing all of that things. And doing all of that, I was like, right, that's cool. I can make the money, but my heart is not there. And then I moved on. I kind of started about 5 or 6 businesses, and I could make the money. You name it, and I could do that. So for me, it did not matter that, I'm doing entrepreneurship just because I'm getting the money. No. So my heart lied in something more where I could go about doing better for the society and actually helping people and seeing that joy in their face. And then, I started working with startups and I started working with NGOs in colleges. And doing that, I realized that I was happy.